What's going on, guys? Welcome to Comic Island. My name is Joey and I want to talk to you guys about Star Wars today. We always talk about Marvel and then DC, but we never really talk about Star Wars before. I mean, we've had many discussions with Star Wars, a few videos in the past, but never enough. So I want to see if I can break this imaginary wall with Comic Island and Star Wars and see if we can bring more Star Wars content to the channel. So to start us off, I want to talk to you about this really awesome theories rather, about a character named the Supreme Leader Snoke. You probably remember him from The Force Awakens 2 years ago. Not much is known about him right now, but there are tons of awesome theories about him just circulating the internet right now, and I probably lost quite a lot of hours just watching theory videos about this mysterious character. So I've compiled a list about the 10 theories as to who he may be, and I want you guys to get ready for this, so check it out. Grand Moff Tarkin was last seen on the Death Star right before Luke Skywalker blew it to bits. He apparently died, but what if somehow he survived and become the leader of the First Order? If Grand Moff Tarkin is to become Snoke, then he would have left on an escape pod moments before the Death Star's destruction. The final image of Tarkin puts him inside the Death Star. But what if he relocated to a remote command base which is capable of operating the Death Star from afar? The blast from the Death Star could have damaged his remote base. He survives, but was left with horrible scarring. Tarkin's ambitious tactical mind fits in with what we know of Snoke so far, and he is more than capable of reviving the Empire in his own image, calling it the First Order. This theory came to life after fans started noticing the similarities between Supreme Leader Snoke and the obvious dead Grand Moff Tarkin. Their concave facial feature resembles one another. Snoke's right hand is bony and knuckly, much like Tarkin, but then again, anyone that age would look like that. Darth Plagueis is a powerful Sith Lord who is capable of creating life and keeping the ones he cared about from dying. Allegedly, he lures in new Sith apprentices to the dark side, trains them, then takes over their body for himself. He sought out immortality, and who's to say he didn't find it? You see, amongst the Sith, there is the rule of two. A Sith Lord has one apprentice, and their apprentice always betrays the master. Well, it's widely believed that Darth Plagueis' last apprentice is Palpatine. If the theories are true, then that would mean that Plagueis took over Palpatine's body, becoming Darth Sidious. Sidious had a lot more than one apprentice, his final apprentice being Darth Vader. But of course, the plan to take over his body failed when Vader got burnt on Mustafar, and then of course Vader chose to save Luke at the end of the Return of the Jedi. Sidious dies, but his life force spewed out and took over Vader's body. This could account for all of the disfigurement and burnt parts on his face. To make this theory true, Vader must have upped and walked out of a burning pyre when no one was watching, or a hidden apprentice took his body and got him rehabilitated. A Sith holocron, much like a Jedi holocron, stores a vast amount of Dark Force information only obtainable by someone who harnesses the dark side. Ezra Bridger was the first known Padawan to be seduced by the holocron. It spoke to Ezra, it drew on his hatred and fear, and because of that, Ezra managed to tap into his vast wealth of knowledge. Who's to say that Ben Solo didn't follow the same path? What if Ben Solo discovered an ancient Sith holocron and was seduced by its false promises of power? Ben kept the holocron from Luke, and because of the lying, Ben fell deeper into the void. Eventually, he fully opened the Sith holocron, exposing all of its secrets. This is when the artifact took on the shape of Snoke. A relationship had been developed, so there was no different in Snoke's reveal. By this time, Ben Solo was corrupted enough to slay his mentor's rebuilt Jedi temple along with the Padawans. So could Snoke be a Sith holocron? Remember guys, Snoke is only shown in hologram form and he possesses knowledge of the Force. This theory might not be as far-fetched as we might think. The last time we saw the Grand Inquisitor, he fell to his death following a lost battle against Kanan Jarrus. He went splat on the ground after hitting metal sidings and being burnt on his journey to the floor. If he survived, then the burnt and the scars will stay with him for life. Following this event, the Grand Inquisitor renounced his Sith loyalties and removed the Sith tattoos. He went into hiding and he observed the fall of the Empire and the death of the two last known Siths at the time, Vader and Sidious. He then revived the shattered Empire and rebuilt his persona as the Supreme Leader Snoke. But to be a leader, the Inquisitor must have the skills necessary to take on the job. Well, before he took on the job of hunting down the last Jedis for Darth Vader, he was the Jedi Temple Guard. Being in this role, the Inquisitor has access to a wide range of knowledge and, of course, he is Force sensitive. Using his knowledge and hatred for the Sith and Jedi alike, he went on to become the Supreme Leader Snoke. Now, he isn't Vader's lapdog anymore. Instead, he leads the Resurrected Empire, and he takes on his own apprentice by stealing the son of Han and Leia. Lord Vitiate, or Emperor Valkorion, lived during the Old Republic. He is a dominating force of nature that claims total mastery over the Force. The self-declared Sith Empire subjugated a galactic republic and the Sith Empire. He lived thousands of years ruling over his eternal throne. In the Star Wars novelization, Darth Plagueis states that Lord Vitiate came the closest to obtaining true immortality. This entity feeds on death itself and can survive even if his physical body gets destroyed. He lived through the ages and he saw the fall of the Republic and the rise of Palpatine's empire. That being said, something must have went wrong along the way because Lord Vitiate at his prime was a true force of nature that could subjugate the entire galaxy. So, if his immortality is weakening, then he will have to surround himself with a new policing force, aka the First Order, and take on a new apprentice, Kylo Ren, in hopes of taking over Ren's body one day. Unfortunately, Lord Vitiate is a Legends character, but if we blur the lines between Legends and canon for one moment, Lord Vitiate will know the weight that his name brings, so to avoid mass panic, he will have to change his name to something else, and that name could be Supreme Leader Snoke. Star Wars The Dark Empire told a story that asks, what if Emperor Palpatine survived a battle on Endor? His physical body is destroyed, but he was so powerful that he found a way to transfer his spirit into a clone nearby. In the Dark Empire novel, we discover that Palpatine did just that. If the Emperor couldn't take on Darth Vader or Luke Skywalker's body for himself, he created multiple backup plans in the form of empty husks created on Kamino. By getting a new body, he was able to manipulate events behind the scenes and rebuild his empire. Luke Skywalker found out and destroyed the empty clones, but one clone containing the spirit of Palpatine did in fact escape. With his fleet at his command, Palpatine's clone could have rebuilt the Empire, calling it the First Order, and he could have even changed his name to wash off all of the negative rumors surrounding the old Emperor. Since the reveal of the title for the Star Wars Episode 8, fans started to speculate that the words "The Last Jedi" doesn't mean that there will be no more Jedi after Luke, or if Rey becomes a Jedi, then she will be the last. What if the title hints at the ancient Jedi Order? We know of the modern Jedi Order, but the Jedi are ancient. What the Jedi Order is during the Old Republic could be much different from the Jedi Order from legend and lore. I love the theory that the ancient Jedi aren't necessarily the good guys, and the Sith aren't necessarily the bad guys. What if they are just two warring orders, one harnessing the light and one harnessing the dark? Now let's look at Snoke. If he is as ancient as people say, what if he is the last remaining Jedi from the ancient order? He taught Kylo Ren everything he knows, and Ren even uses a lightsaber from ancient designs. No present Jedi or Sith would have knowledge on how to construct something like that. We know that Luke Skywalker went into exile seeking the very first Jedi temple, so could Luke be gathering intel and planning the eventual battle between him and the last Jedi? This is probably one of the most popular theories circulating around the interwebs right now. Mace Windu, Sam Jackson, is the supreme leader of the First Order, a Jedi Master turned to the dark side. We never saw Mace Windu die, but he did take a hell of a beating and fall off a very high tower. Snoke's facial disfigurement could have been from the Force lightning attack that Mace endured. His dark skin could have turned bleach white, which was the same thing that happened to Palpatine after the fight. In the Force Awakens novelization, Snoke stated that he was around to see the Empire rise and fall. This would fit into the time frame of Mace being around during the Republic. And if he survives the fall and went to hiding, he could be alive to lead the First Order. A possible reason as to why he turned evil is that he carries a big vendetta against Palpatine and Anakin's offsprings. Since Palpatine is dead as a doorknob, there's only Luke Skywalker left. If some theories are correct, Rey is a Skywalker as well, meaning Snoke Windu will be after her as well. There's also a theory that Finn is a son or grandson of Snoke Windu, but that's another story for another time. Sifo Dyas was a Jedi Master serving on the Jedi Council. He advocated for the creation of an army for the Republic. Because of this, he was removed from the Jedi Council. But that didn't stop Sifo Dyas from going to Kamino to begin the creation of the clone army for the Republic. He was shot down by mercenaries on orders from Count Dooku. We know that his body was brought to Dooku for proof by the mercs, and we are left to assume that he died in the crash. While in the Clone Wars, Yoda sees a vision of what appears to be Sifo Dyas bound, trapped, and tortured. He says to Yoda that he had been imprisoned for so long. The visions turn out to be Darth Sidious imprisoning Sifo Dyas. But what if parts of the vision was actually Sifo Dyas? If he was kept alive, then he would have escaped somehow after being tortured by the Sith. This could have answered for the mutilated face that Snoke has. Sifo Dyas during his capture would have had a lot of time considering his position with the Jedis. He urged the Jedi Council to build an army for the Republic. They said no, and yet, the army was made and it was welcomed by a large part of the council. The Jedi never went looking for Sifo Dyas, believing that he died in the crash, followed by the recovery of his lightsaber. The Sith tortured him for intel. When he finally escaped, he renounced his Jedi oath. He loathed the Jedi and the Sith alike. He saw the Empire rise and burn. He took on a new apprentice and picked up where Palpatine left off. This time, instead of calling it the revived Empire, Sifo Dyas, now going by Snoke, builds his new empire, the First Order, and he claims the spot of Supreme Leader. What if we, the fans, are trying to find something that is not entirely there, and that Supreme Leader Snoke is just an original character? Andy Serkis, the actor who played Snoke in The Force Awakens, has already stated that the Supreme Leader is not Darth Plagueis. Snoke is a fresh new character created for The Force Awakens. That being said, maybe he's just that. An ancient character that saw the fall of the Republic, the rise and fall of the Empire, and he found an opportunity to take on a leadership role to revive an empire, now calling it the First Order. But now that begs the question, what was he doing during the Clone Wars? Was he on Palpatine's council? What is his relationship to the Sith and the Jedi? We never saw Snoke in person, so we can't confirm that he is actually Force sensitive, but he is very knowledgeable on the Force. Chances are that he is Force sensitive, or he will be the first non-Force sensitive character to train a Force user, in this case Kylo Ren. So, what is your favorite Supreme Leader Snoke theory? Who do you think it is? And do you want more Star Wars content to come to Comic Island? Please, let me know in the comments below. Now, I want to thank Jensen Ackles from the Supernatural TV series for supplying this awesome shirt from his love campaign. You may know him as Jason Todd from The Red Hood. Now, thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoy our content and want to support us, I recommend checking out our Patreon page. Thanks again, and please like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time in another Comic Island video.